Hello, my name is Shirish Srivastava and this is my video blog. Today I want to talk about a little bit about defining moments. There was a time when I was frustrated about getting successful, and that's why I started reading a lot of books and I have gone through a lot of articles and blogs just to understand how to become very successful and rich. Of course, who doesn't want to be rich? And that's where I came to know about this concept called defining moments. So there were defining moments in everyone's life. Like it was like I was reading a biography and there were defining moments in lives of successful people like Steve Jobs. There was a defining moment when he saw that gadget and Steve was in his garage and he decided that this is my defining moment and I'm going to change my life. So it was more of like a hero's journey where a hero discovers something and his life completely changes. It was a ton of events, and that happens in everyone's lives. If I read speeches of people, they would say that they saw something wrong happening with someone and then decided that they're going to dedicate their entire life towards the welfare of people. Some said that they watched a movie, like Anurag Kashyap said he watched this movie called Bicycle Thief by Vittorio De Sica, and he decided that I'm going to be a filmmaker. So a lot of these stories that I heard and read in YouTube and books and all these places, I realized that there has to be a defining moment, and I also realized that my defining moment hasn't come. There isn't a defining moment when I realized that this is what I want to do. So if someone is taking my interview and asks me what was the defining moment, I wouldn't have any. So I decided to take interviews of people just to understand what is their defining moments. So I contacted few successful people. I'm not going to give their names here because I don't have that permission, and all those interviews were unofficial, and I asked them about their defining moments. Sadly, there was none of them. None of the single person I interviewed had a defining moment. So I was frustrated, I was irritated, and I was surprised. I was surprised because I thought there has to be a defining moment, and I was forcing them again and again to tell me their defining moments, the moment when they realized that they wanted to be in that particular field. They wanted to become a director or an actor or a screenwriter or something that inspired them to become something. There wasn't any. At that moment, I couldn't believe that they didn't have any defining moment. I thought that they didn't want to tell me their defining moments, or maybe they haven't themselves realized what was their defining moment, and it is for the first time that someone is asking them that question. Days ago, I read a lot of books about the same thing, and one of the books that I came to know about was Dr. Carl Newport's So Good That They Can't Ignore You. And that book again broken a lot of myths that were existing inside my mind. One of those myths were there are no defining moments. There are no moments of inspiration where a person takes a twist. Those are all dramatic moments that are invented to dramatize their stories and sell their stories. Every celebrity does that. Every superstar does that. Every successful man does that. All the biographies have those defining moments where someone does something and suddenly his life changes. But then again, if you realize that biographies are just one-sided glorified version of one person's account of his life, which he wants people to read and admire him for what he was. So life is basically a set of defining moments. Every day you get up and you get one defining moment and you move accordingly. There won't be a major defining moment in anyone's life where he realized that this is what he wanted to do. It was all, every decision that any person made had been a gradual progress. He kept on doing the same thing again and again. He saw something and he realized he wanted to do that. He moved on. He faced obstacles. He came back. Then he realized he has to do that again. And that kept on going till he became successful. There is no such thing as overnight success. Like you might have heard about that phrase that an overnight success needs 20 years of hard work. That's true, but there is no overnight success. The success also comes gradually. For an overnight success, you might be facing a little bit of success day by day. That success might not be very high in quantity, but there has to be some amount of success. So that myth of defining moment has taken a lot of my time, and I was waiting my defining moment to come, and then I realized that the defining moment is not going to come. I have to create it. Either I have to create it or I have to create a lot of defining moments in my life. There has to be some breaks in my life where there will be some defining moments where every decision will take me in one single direction, where I will become very successful. So in my opinion, I don't think you should believe in those defining moments, and you should keep doing whatever you are doing and just keep on doing. There is no defining moment or the truth of matter or the passion or the love of things that is coming in, and do not be misguided by successful people's speeches and biographies, and especially I have seen that Steve Jobs' Stanford speech, and a lot of people have been misguided by that. thinking that they have to find what they love to do. They have to find their passion. But passion is not something that you will find. Passion is something that is inside you. Whatever you're doing, if you do it long enough, if you are interested in doing that, if you force yourself to like it, if you gather as much information about what you're doing as much as possible, I'm pretty sure it will become your passion and you will start to love doing that. So, and another thing, that there's a myth that I read in Cal Newport's book, So Good They Can't Ignore You, and that was Steve Jobs didn't love what he was doing. He was an art student who was dropped out, and he was doing a part-time calligraphy courses. Then he went to India in search of truth, and then he came back and he was working in Nintendo as a developer, and he got friends with Steve Wozniak, who was making a computer, and he just decided to sell it to make some extra money. Before that, he also started selling one hardware which was illegal in US, and he made a lot of money out of it. So he was just selling it to make money. He didn't love what he was doing. He was doing it because he was getting a lot of money, and money is one of those accomplishments and rewards which you get, and you start loving doing what you are doing. So if you're getting a lot of rewards and accomplishments in whatever you're doing, you will start falling in love with that thing. It does not have to be cool things. It does not have to be, you do not have to leave your job to do a startup. Not everyone can do startup. And statistically, if you see 99.9% of all the startups that start fail, and that's the secret. You just cannot run after the cool things, and if you try to find your passion and the thing that you love to do, that will always drastically put you in a pedestal to failure. Why? Because most of the things that you will love doing will be related to art or creativity, and you would have this foolish thinking that you will love that because everyone enjoys art, everyone enjoys creativity. So you will have this thinking that you might love it, but it won't make a career out of it. Whatever you're doing, whether you are in stocks, whether you are an investment banker, whether you are a software industry, anything that you are doing, just do it as nicely as you can. Try to gather as much information about it as you can. Don't wait for those defining moments. Create your own defining moments and just keep on moving. Thank you.